What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be skinning the bobcat we caught in week 5 here. Got a nice female here, and so we're going to go through skinning them, how we skin them, and the fur put up process. So I'm going to show you what I use and everything. I'll put links down below for all the stuff that I use if you guys want to check that stuff out. But yeah, let's get into it. Hopefully this helps some of you. If you guys have any tips of your own, go ahead, throw them down in the comments below so that we can all help each other learn. All right, thanks guys. Enjoy the video. Nice, buddy. Good. Like I said, you get these 2 different nozzles. Alright guys, so got our bobcat here, and what I start off with is just a pelting knife. It's a real simple little one. Make sure it stays sharp. I always keep a little knife sharpener by me. This one's Jacari, just a little knife sharpener. You can get them on Amazon for like anywhere from $5 to $10. So you can pick them up at your feed stores. You can pick them up all over the place. You pick them up at Walmart in the fishing section. So, real easy thing to find. The pelting knife I bought off Amazon. This was like $12 to $14, I think. Just a good little pelting knife. Again, we'll throw links down below. Another thing I keep handy is a fillet knife. I use these all the time. It's just something I always use when I'm skinning. Just have on hand. It just helps with getting into some of the little tighter spots. It's a real good sharp knife. So I'm going to keep that on hand. I always carry, I use this instead of a tail stripper, because tail strippers tend to break a lot. I use 2 large nails. Pick these up at Ace Hardware or any hardware store that sells nails. You can pick them up at Lowe's, Home Depot, wherever. But 2 big nails for tail stripper. I'll show you guys that too. Alright, so with the bobcat, I'll start right here at the bottom pad of the foot. And right here you can see it's got this nice line right here between the white fur and the brown fur on the leg. And that's what we're going to kind of use for our line. So we're going to start here at the base of the foot and run a line basically straight down here all the way up to the vent. So that's what we're going to do first. That's going to be our initial cut. I'm not going to get into the gland collection and everything in this video. I have another video for that. I'll throw a link for that video in with this video as well, so you can check that video out in the future. All right, so just pop our little knife in here and start sliding it down and working it down. Cat, this one's been here, hanging here all day because I had to be at work, so I had to wait till tonight to do this. It's a lot easier to do when they are still warm, but you want to keep it right down that line. So you keep all that white fur on one side and the brown fur kind of the other side as best you can. Run that cut all the way down to the vent, like I said. We're going to run that all the way down to the top of the vent here, right here at the base of the tail. Alright, I'm going to come back. I'm just going to peel some of this fur back and just work it away from the foot and just kind of peel it all the way around, okay? Just pop some of this away. I already hit bone, so it's already being a little bit of a pain on this knife. Throw a quick edge on that. It's a nice thing about having those little sharpeners with you. Helps peel some of that fur away, especially right around here on the back of the leg. Doesn't always want to peel off because it's hooked right into a lot of that ligament. I'll do my best not to get in the way so you guys can see. Maybe we'll do this as a live further down the line here, and you guys can pipe in and ask questions and stuff as we go, and we can just make a night of it. Hopefully this will help you guys out. Once you get enough of it kind of peeled down off of the leg there, you get your finger through, pop a hole there. You're going to separate as much of the fur from the leg as you can. And I bring it all the way down the foot as far as I can. You want to give that fur buyer as much fur as possible. Not only that, it gives you a lot of fur to work with when you're trying to square everything up on the stretcher. So get that, and when I cut this direction towards the toes. So I cut as much of that fur off as I can, and I'm popping it off that bottom foot. So you can see it cuts all the way down to here. Get as much of that fur and use as much of that fur as possible. Now we're just going to grab that foot and peel that fur back. Like I said, this is a much easier process when the cats are still warm. This one's been hanging, it's a little bit cold back here. Get that gland real quick. Again, I'll cover that in another video. But you get that leg peeled all the way down, just like that. That back hock, just like that. We're going to flip this around. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. Put my chain right there. Pop the other leg down. And the cat's been sitting all day, so it's a little bit stiff. Again, base of that bottom pad of its foot. Let the knife in right there at the base of that pad. Start working that knife down. Just run down that hairline. This is what Mercer refers to as the money cut, and that's Drake sounding off. We run it right down all the way to the vent, splitting it so that you get that brown fur on one side and all that white fur on the other. Run it straight down that line. Got some sirens going by, and Drake has to join in as always. Another handy thing to have if you're an Arizona trapper or you're trapping and it's warmer weather is make sure you have some bug spray of some sort that will kill fleas, any kind of flea spray or bug spray. With this warmer weather, this cat does have some fleas, so I always have that on hand as well. Because what I'll do is I'll put it on the stretcher, and then once it's on the stretcher, I'll give the fur a quick spray with the flea spray, and it kills all the fleas on it. And then we can deal with those later when we're brushing it out. Also with the brushing it out, I forgot to mention this. Have a fur brush handy, because sometimes you'll end up with burrs and sticks and twigs and stuff these cats go through, bits of cactus and whatnot gets tangled in their fur, and you start doing the fleshing process on the fleshing beam, and you can pop holes where that stuff is. So you want to make sure that if you do have a cat that's got all that stuff in, you take a few minutes, brush it out real good, make sure that all that stuff gets knocked out. This cat was a real clean one, so I don't have to worry about that. But I have had a few where I've had to brush them out first. Put that there. Like I said, this is my first time filming one of these types of videos, so if it doesn't turn out as great as you guys want, you want some better views and stuff, let me know, and we'll go over those things in more detail on other cats in the future. Get this leg up a little bit. Peel that whole leg down. So we get all the way to the vent, pull everything kind of forward here, and that actually just popped right off nicely. Sometimes you have to cut it, sometimes you don't, just kind of depends. With back here around the tail, just peel it back carefully so you don't rip the tail off. There's no monetary value really in the tail, but it makes for a nice clean look when you put it on the board and everything else. The other thing you do is make a nice little hole there. Peel some of that tail back just a little. And then what I do is I take my two nails and I do the ends kind of opposite to each other, kind of like that. And I pinch the tail in between it. And I just grab it between my fingers. Basically put the tail between my fingers kind of like that. Grab a hold of the nails. Grab the base of the tail here. Push away and pull with the nails and the tail burr and everything off, and it slides right off for you. Then what you can do is you can take your fillet knife, pop it down into your tail there, and just work that knife down and split the tail. That's going to help air get into that and help it dry out. I'll also throw some borax on that after I'm done with the flushing process, and it gets that all cleaned up. Some old scars on the back of this cat. Looks like it was fighting something at some point. Now we just start working the fur down. Like I said, this is a much easier process on a fresh cat rather than doing this on a cold cat. Same with any animal. Try doing this on a cold raccoon. That'll be a workout for you. Alright, back this up just a little. Let me adjust the shot here for you. Alright, I just want to make sure you guys could see. Alright, so you keep pulling it down, work it down to the shoulders, keep going. Just work that fur down. What I try and do as little knife work as possible with bobcats because I do not want to punch holes in these things. I just use my thumb, fingers, just separate that fur from the cat. Just kind of keep working it around the edges here. Keep working it around. Eventually, you'll be able to work that shoulder all the way around to where you can pop a finger through. Once you can kind of just, what I do is I take my fingers, put them in there, rotate down and put my body weight into it. Peel some of that back so I have a gap. Once I have the gap, I'll work that elbow up until it pops out like that. Grab the top of the elbow, grab the base, and do the same thing, kind of push-pull. Just separate that leg. You can grab right there, hook your thumb under it, push away from you, pull that fur from the leg, and I pull it all the way down to that dew claw there. You can kind of feel it with your thumb. It's right after the wrist, basically. Just work that fillet knife around. Just getting to where I need to put an edge back on it again. And you pop the foot off. We'll do the same thing on the other side. Again, pull that leg up so you get that elbow popped out. Now you can get a good grip with your hands. spin this around here. Get a good grip with your hands like that. And you can really peel that back. Quick edge. And you get the foot out. Now we've got the foot out. Just going to work that fur down some more and get it down to where you can see the ear nubs on the cat. A lot of time getting it past the neck and getting it just over that little head there. That initial bump of the head can be a little bit tough, but once you get it out to that wide part of the head, it gets real easy. Right here, you'll kind of be able to see this better once you're doing it yourself. But you can kind of see where the ears start popping out. I pull it down just a little bit past so I get a good chunk of cartilage right there on either side. Take my fillet knife again, making sure I'm not actually cutting into the fur itself and getting just the ear. And just cut in until we pop that ear loose. You're going to do the same thing on the other side. Make sure I'm not getting any of that good fur. Cut all the way down. Just grab that, pull it down. And just start up here on the head. I start using the knife a little more. Work it around because you're going to find those eye holes right about there. About an inch or so from where you cut at the ears, the base of the ear there, to where the eye holes are. Could be about an inch-ish. Larger cats can be a little bit more on those bigger skulls. And I just work that knife in there. Try and give you guys the best light we can. Cut all the way behind those eyelids. All the way down to the mouth. You don't have to worry about the lower lip for fur sales and stuff. If you're doing taxidermy stuff, I highly recommend freezing the cat whole and taking it to your taxidermist. Otherwise, it's a pain. That's done. This one's been a little bit of a pill around the eyes. Sometimes you have that happen. Go. Peel that back. Just going to keep working it around until we get it all the way past that nose. You're going to cut right through the cartilage on the nose. In Arizona, we have to give the lower jaw to Game and Fish for a study that they're doing on these cats. So we'll take that off later. So I can turn that in. I also keep the skulls, I sell them. But there you go. It's all skinned out here. I'm going to take you over to the fleshing beam. I'm going to show you that. And we will get this cat fleshed out, and then we'll get it on a stretcher. Stay tuned. over here at the fleshing beam. Mine's made out of PVC. Just got a big piece of green PVC pipe and laid it up against a stretcher to give myself kind of a mock shape that I want to get. Basically just used half a piece of PVC pipe like this and laid a stretcher on it, kind of gave myself a mock kind of form that I wanted to use, and then cut that out and then smoothed it off a little bit and on the edges just so I didn't have any sharp edges. I screwed that into a piece of metal tubing, and then I have a piece of metal tubing that kind of slides into in the base. That way if I want to make a skinnier one for smaller animals or something in the future, I can. And then I have a nice little fleshing beam. Another thing I always keep on hand is borax. Good thing to have with me. Grab some gloves here and we'll get to work. Alright, so got our cat, put it on the fleshing beam, work it all the way down. It's already been brushed out and everything, so you don't have to worry about popping any holes on anything like the, on any burrs or anything like that. With the head, it's always nice, just take a little bit of borax, pop it in there, and that's going to make it so the knife doesn't slip. Get your fleshing knife, always keep this edge clean. I clean it off periodically throughout the process, and that keeps your knife from slipping as well. From here, just pop your, I always put the nose of it right under my lower rib, just to kind of hold it in place, and just start working that knife down. And it's not a super hard pressure, especially on these bobcats. They're a thinner skinned animal, so you really don't need a lot of pressure on them. We just kind of work that meat and fat down off the head. There's no real monetary value in the head if you're going to be just boarding it and drying it. But you want that meat and fat and stuff off of the head as much as possible, just so it doesn't rot on you. Again, just a little bit of borax right there around the ear. And it just helps the knife grab and peel that stuff off. Pop that off. And just keep working it down. What you're trying to do is just scrape all the meat and membrane off so that it doesn't rot on you while it's drying out. And we've got a much drier climate here in Arizona, so these cats dry pretty quickly. I always keep a ceiling fan going in here, as well as an oscillating fan that blows on the hides to help them dry out. See the blade's kind of starting to slip a little bit there. All we do is throw a little bit more borax on that, and it helps peel that all right off. You don't want to do real long strokes, because the farther out you get, the more likely your pressure is going to change, and you can end up popping a hole in these. You want to keep your strokes nice and short. I try and keep them anywhere from 6 to 8 inches. If it builds up like that, I just peel it off. It goes on the floor for cleanup later. Just going to work our way around. As I said before, if you guys have any tips of your own, what you've done in the past that's worked for you, please go ahead and share. I know a lot of guys like to use sawdust instead of the borax. Sawdust works great too. I just don't have much access to it, so I use borax. If you have access to a lot of sawdust, that works great too. Alright, that's pretty much all we're going to do right there on the neck. I'm going to rotate it, do the same thing here, and just keep working our way around. Get this whole area up here done first, then we're going to go to the legs and work our way down and just continue on down. Just take your time, work your way around on these cats. You'll kind of learn as you go what kind of pressure to use. It's kind of a feel thing. It's not something that I can really convey as I talk to you here while I'm working. It's more something you're just going to have to kind of get a feel for. And for each kind of critter you're working on, it's going to be different. Bobcats, you're going to have a pressure that you use for fleshing them out. Foxes, it's going to be a little bit different. Not a lot, because foxes are kind of a thin-skinned critter too. But you get into skunks and raccoons and that kind of thing, you're going to use a much heavier pressure on those. They have a thicker hide. They've got a lot more fat, a lot more grease, everything else that you're going to try and scrape off of them. If you guys are interested in seeing that type of video, I do have a few skunks that I'm going to have to do. So if you're interested in seeing something like that, drop a comment down below, let me know. And get enough people interested in something like that, we'll do a video on processing and skinning out and flushing and boarding a skunk. I think that would kind of be a fun one to do for you guys. Alright, pretty much all we're going to get off of this neck here. Doesn't have to be paper white, just needs to get all that membrane and fat off. Once I get it down to that point on these cats, this chest area is the area where you're going to start popping holes and right in these armpits. So what I like to do is I'll actually rotate the cat and put their whole leg right in the top of that. Pull the cat down, stretches out the leg a little bit, makes it easier when you go to put them on the stretcher, and just work that fleshing knife around that leg and armpit area. By doing it this way, you're less likely to pop a hole. You can really see how straight and smooth you're making everything. When you're going, I'm not pushing straight down. It's more kind of an angle. And you work kind of around the edges of the fleshing beam here. I really like the PVC. The knife doesn't really cut into it. It just gives you a nice clean surface to work on. It's just really nice having PVC. It's just what I prefer. Some guys swear by the wood PVC beams. I've never really been a fan. I don't like that flat surface, but that's just me. Everybody's got their preferences. You're just going to have to try a few different things and see which one you like best. Leg, pull it around. Not only that, but as you're getting this membrane off, you'll notice the leg kind of starts spreading out more and more of it slides down onto the fleshing beam here. It's because you're taking that membrane off and you're giving that hide a little bit more space to maneuver. Be careful when you get down into the belly, especially on these females. So they got the nipples there. If you put too much pressure on, you can pop a nipple, and then you pop a hole in your hide. That's why you also don't want to do those really long strokes where you're straightening your arms out. You want to keep it kind of up in your workspace, kind of close. I'm breaking my own rules here as I go. Sometimes you kind of see me stretching it a little bit further, but that's just because I've gotten more of a feel for it over the years. It's one of those things that eventually you'll kind of get a feel for it and what you're comfortable with. But to start off, I recommend just short, closer to the body strokes so that you can get that feel for it, all right? So there's one leg done. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. Take off a couple little pieces I missed. And we're going to move over to the other leg. Again, you can kind of see the difference. We had this one all the way up to the end here. This one, there's that gap right there because we haven't worked this leg yet. But as you work it, it also kind of stretches it and pulls it down. And that makes it easier to do the Nevada stretch. When we go to put the hangers in the legs and everything else, it makes them sit nice and flat and wide. You get that nice wide piece of white fur with the black stripes that show on the legs. Really makes for a good presentation. So, another reason to do it this way. Just work this all the way around. Meat and membrane down away from these legs here. Kind of see both sides here. What you're trying to do, you want to kind of, so you can kind of see it's all kind of bunching up in one area here, all the way around. And you want to kind of keep that roll going as much as you can. Never done this in Crocs before, but it is 12:30 at night. I've worked all day and worked the night shift already, or swing shift, so I'm beat. I'm going to try and get this done for you guys though. So I've been promising I'd do a fur handling video quite a while. I've had quite a few of you ask me, so I really want to get this done for y'all. Alright. So we've got the upper portion done here. Now we're just going to kind of work all the way down, get all the way down past that end here, and just kind of keep working this membrane and any of the meat and anything else down. Like I said, on these cats, especially these Arizona cats, there's not a whole lot there. You get up further north, I'm sure, get up into the higher mountains in Colorado and further north than that, you're going to have a lot more fat on these cats and a lot more to peel off. But depending on where you are in the country and what time of year it is, you may have a cat that looks just like this as well, just not a whole lot there, and you're just going to peel that membrane off. And once you do, you're pretty much done. Keep working this fur around. Another thing with these cats is usually you want to get that fur off as fast as possible, because if you don't, you can end up with it starting to turn, especially if there's a lot of fat on these cats and you're in a warm climate. You want to get that fur off as quickly as possible so it doesn't start to turn, because if it starts to turn, you'll flip these and this will all be green right here on the belly where all that fat is, and that can rot your hide. You really don't want that. So I got away with it today, just it's a slightly cooler day, and we got a nice cool shop out here, so I was able to bring the cat in, hang it, have the fans running, keep it nice and cool in here, keep everything cold, and that keeps any of that fat and stuff underneath the fur from going rancid on you. But if you've got really hot weather or something like that, get that fur off that cat as fast as you can, so that it does not go bad. I've had one that almost turned on me, I think that was last year. Nice big tom that I caught, and it was just a longer line that I was on, and literally from the time I caught that cat to the time I got home was probably 2 hours, and then got it into the shop out back here. It's just a warmer day, and that cat had already started to green a little bit. I hit it with the borax real good. That borax will stop that, and none of the hair slipped or anything, so it worked out in the end. But it's one of those things you got to watch closely for and just kind of keep an eye on. Like I said, though, we're just going to keep working our way around. As you can see, I'm not doing these super long strokes. I'm only covering maybe 4 inches at a time, 3-4 inches. Just working that roll all the way down. Get a nice clean skin up here. Still got some cactus needles in here top that are just stuck in the skin. These cats live in some harsh country. Turn these furs inside out. Their legs are full of the cactus needles and everything else down here, so you end up getting those in your hands and everything else while you're doing this. So be prepared for that. Another reason to wear gloves, other than the fact that you just don't want any germs or disease or anything else. You just want to make sure. A while back we did have some feline distemper going through out here, so you just had to kind of be real mindful of that. Kind of cat that's acting real strange. Just want to make sure you glove up before you handle it and everything else. So just be aware of what's going on with the animals in your area, and just kind of follow the safety handling procedures as it goes for that area. A lot of time you can find out from your local DNR or game and fish office if there's anything you need to be worried about disease-wise with a lot of these predators that we catch. They can kind of fill you in on that stuff. We're just going to keep working this around until you get to the end. You'll kind of feel it when you get to the end. You just pop that all the way off the end there. It feels a little bit rougher down here on these back legs, but fur's a little bit thicker down here, so you don't have to be as careful. And you just keep working that fleshing knife around. Peel all that away. It kind of bunches a little bit at the end there. You're just going to kind of keep pushing until that stuff just all pops off at the end. And all that fat and membrane and everything else come off. Don't worry about it. You'll kind of see that fur there. It's got a little bit of the fat and grease in it. That'll all clean up. Some guys wash their fur after this and then tumble it. I don't have a tumbler. Maybe that'll be something we'll do in the future, is build a tumbler, but I just don't catch enough cats for something like that. If you guys have ever watched any of Jim Ball's videos over on Trapping Spots, I'll throw his link down below. He's got a video about his tumbler that he made. Really cool setup that he's got. You can check that video out. And after he's done fleshing his cats, he washes them and throws them in a tumbler, and with what's he use? It's like some sort of corn husk or something like that that soaks up all the moisture, and he tumbles them in there for a while, and then pulls them out and puts them on the stretchers and everything. He always ends up with real pretty looking cats, but he also catches a lot higher numbers than a lot of us. So definitely check out his channel, check out his videos. He actually just did a video. He's doing some filming right now with Weeby Trapping Adventures. He came down and do some filming with him, and they are having a heck of a time out on that line. So if you guys aren't subscribed to Jim's channel, definitely do that. Subscribe to Trapping Spots and check his stuff out. A lot of good information on his channel as well. His is mostly, again, he does a lot of cat trapping and everything, so this is kind of a play on words, trapping spots. It's trapping cats, like the spotted cats, but it's also locations. He likes to really get into the locations and show you good spots to go trap at and what kind of structure to look for and a lot of the location questions that you get. So definitely check out his channel. Alright, so that leg's all clean. Around here to the back, base of the tail, get the last little bit of membrane and fat off of the area around the tail here. Had some little chunks of fat and stuff. Borax on there. Pop that last little edge off. Just gonna keep working this knife around the edge. It's a little bit of that fluff off at the end there. It's all right. Not gonna hurt anything. Get all that membrane and crap off of there. You can see it's just totally changed the color here. It's all nice and clean now. I'm gonna come back to it with some borax, wipe everything down with borax. That's gonna help this dry out quicker. So that little ligament and membrane off of this leg here. Just clean look there. Alright. That is pretty much it there. Oh, got one more little spot on that side there. Cut that off. That is the other gland from the other leg. I missed that guy. Grab that, save that one. Save the glands. By the time I send those up to Rich Tonguet, he makes the Dirty Cat and the Northern Lights bait and lures that I use a lot of the time. I send him a lot of the glands and stuff for my cats, and that helps him because he's able to make more of the baits that I use. I really like his stuff, and the cats down here really seem to like it too. Alright, we got the cat done. We're not going to turn the ears on these cats. Again, there's just no reason to. You can do it if you want. Gives you a nice kind of clean presentation. But take some borax here. Wipe the head down real good with the borax, help dry all that out. I'm going to cut that lower lip off once we get it on the board. I can get a kind of look at where I want, so I'm not even going to worry about that. I like to wipe the whole cat down with the borax. Once I'm done, I'm soak up any excess moisture that was still there. Helps these cats dry out quicker. It really helps it slide onto the stretchers nicer. Won't stick to the stretcher as you're putting it on. Especially if you're new to this. The easier you can make it on yourself, the better. Almost get a little bit down into the tail there. Help that dry. Get these back legs real quick. Dry them out real fast. This other back leg. We're also going to use borax when we go to dry wash these. I have another video on that as well. You can check that out in the links. This whole cat turned here. A little bit of blood on it right there. Get that cleaned off here real quick. It's happened in the skinning process. Around the legs. Get that turned. The other leg turned. And we'll get this guy on a stretcher. I'll give you a look at that. Alright, so we're back. We're going to be putting the cat up on the board here. Got it up on a bucket so you can kind of see what I'm doing down at the lower half a little easier. I'm going to show you real quick at the top though. I'm going to put the cat on. You're going to basically put this tip right here, right across the nose. This is one of Top Lot stretchers. You can order it from them. This is their Bobcat, one of their Bobcat coyote stretchers. They have little marks at the bottom. The red mark is for bobcats, black marks for coyotes. And it gets you pretty darn close to what your measurements should be. The other thing I have is an actual measuring stick that I use for measuring my cats. I have a whole video all about this as well. But you want to try and hit that 36-inch mark as best you can, because anything 36 inches or bigger, they can put 2 patterns on. If it's below 36 inches, it's 1 pattern, and it cuts your price for your cats drastically. So you want to make sure that you're hitting those numbers. Again, check out that video for further on the measuring stick. We get this cat on the board here though. Pull it down. Get out of the way for a second here. Like I said, for the nose, you want to just kind of center it. And get the nose and everything just kind of peaked right there on the top of the board. From there. Alright, so we get the cat up on the board. I'll just cut the lower lip off here. I just kind of work it around so that it makes it nice and round. Get a nice round mouth hole area here. That lower lip's really doesn't have any value or anything to it. It just gets it out of the way and it helps this whole thing dry out a little quicker. We get our cat on there. Got that nice wide mouth hole. Now you can see it's got that air pocket right there for airflow. Gonna center up that nose best we can here. Try and stretch that head down. Pull it down. What you're going to want to do, kind of bunch up your cat a little bit here, grab a big chunk of it, and pull down. Pull down on the sides. And just kind of work your cat down on that stretcher as best you can. You don't want to overstretch your cat, but you want to get all the stretch out of it that you can without overstretching. Because you want to try and hit that 36-inch mark. And if you're catching big enough cats, you shouldn't have to worry about it. I think this one should be fine. Oh yeah, we'll hit the 36, no problem. Pull down. Just keep working down on this. Yeah, nice little stretch. You kind of get that lump right here in the head and neck area. If you can get that stretched out around and slide your whole fur down, and you're not cheating yourself out. So this is all bunched up here, and you're not going to have that stretch down here that you want. So you want to make sure you get that all the way down. 36 inches. It's got to be at least from 36 to 40. You want it at 8 inches, 7.5 to 8 inches, somewhere in there. So we want to make sure that that's what we've got, leather to leather on the belly. Again, watch that video for further on that. Pop the base of this out. That should be fairly close. That right there. Pull down on the belly there. You want to try and make that belly as wide as you can too. Pull down and pull out. That rolls that belly out nice and wide. Gives you that nice wide white belly to work with. Get that there. Put our tailboard in. I use a tailboard on these, that way I can get the feet and everything nice and close together. It makes for a really nice presentation, and it makes that belly look like that white belly just goes on forever. Just makes it look really nice and pretty for the buyers to look at. Now, the measurement goes from tip of the nose, base of the tail, right there on that flap, so right about there. So we want to make sure we hit that 36, the base of the tail. We are close on this one. Thought this cat was just a hair bigger. Not always easy to tell when you got him in the cage. I've had small cats look big. I've had big cats look really small. I've had everything in between. Just work that down. Get our pins. I just have a big thing of thumbtacks here that I use. Nothing special. Just cheap old thumbtacks from Walmart. Pop that first one in at the base of the tail. Start working everything else in. Oops. We're just going to tack this all the way around. Kind of see we're getting that nice straight, flat line. That's what you want. You don't want it to be V'd. You don't want it to be all bunched up and wrinkled. You want a nice, flat line across. And same as if you go to the fur sales and you talk to the fur buyers, find the ones that'll talk to you, and give you information about what exactly they're looking for. You can get a lot of great information out of them. And they will tell you exactly what they want. You can make these furs look exactly like they like. And they're going to give you top dollar for them. If not, they're going to find every deduction they can. But that's also why we get multiple buyers at a sale. Bring that tail down. It's not just flopping everywhere. It'll dry nice and straight. Pop an extra thumbtack up in here. Just have a couple of them there. Keeps everything nice and even. Oh, what do we got? Looks like we're right at that 36 mark. So we'll see how this cat goes. It's a female, so they never do as well anyway. Another thing I learned on the females, they don't do as well on the sales. Just because when they tan the hides, the spots where the nipples are get wide and flat, and then there's no hair there. It's just a big, wide, blank, flat spot. Which translates to wasted square inches on the cat. They want as much nice white fur as they can get. So you want to just kind of keep working this around. I always work the inside of the legs first. Start up here, work my way around, work everything to the center, and then run straight down that center line. Keep working our way down, grabbing tacks, putting it in. This part's a little bit boring to watch, but this is what we're doing. We're just going to keep working in and adding tacks, and I use a lot of tacks because I want to make sure that everything is nice and tight in place. I don't end up with any bunching later on. And it makes for a better finished product at the end. And because we cut that foot all the way down, it makes for a nice long, flat leg, that big white stripe down the middle. And it just looks really nice. Alright, so we got that one. We take that leg, pull it out to the side. I always pull it out to the very edge of the wood. Pop it right in there. I'm just going to keep on going. Get it out to the edge. Get it nice and flat. Pop another tack in. Get it out to the edge, nice and flat. Pop another tack in. Out to the edge. And tack it. We're just going to keep on going. All the way down. So that's what one leg looks like. We're going to do the other side. I'm not going to make you sit here and watch that. We'll get that other side done, and then I'll show you what we do with the front legs. Stay tuned. Alright, I almost started doing this without you guys. Oh, I did a little bit. But what I've got here is just some pieces of hanger. I just took a hanger, cut it down the middle, cut the hook off, and you ended up with this nice little piece of plastic that looks like this. Alright, what we do with these is you take them and you shove it, that little U piece, I put them down the leg hole, then it spreads that upper leg out nicely and nice and flat. You can use that, kind of spread it out flat. Got a little bit of blood here on the leg, but we'll get that cleaned up with borax later when we do our dry wash. All that'll come off. That'll shine up nice and bright and white. Pop a little thumbtack in right there. Holds that one leg up. Do the same thing on the other side here. Pops that leg up. And you have that nice white all the way up. Brush it down. So if you got a little fur brush, kind of brush it out a little. Brush out the legs a little. This whole thing's going to get dry washed later anyway, and that's going to fluff this whole thing up real nice too. But there you go. Disconnect this camera here and give you guys a real good close look here. So what we got from the base here, you can see you kind of square it up as best you can. You run those tacks and bring those legs in nice and close all the way up. Brings that belly in, it gives all that white. And when you get all that cleaned up with the dry wash and everything, that whole thing just pops white. And it just looks beautiful white all the way up and through. Then you end up with a nice looking cat, just like that. So we're going to let this thing dry. I'm going to hang it up with the other cats. Flip it around here. I'll show you the back side again real quick. The back side. Do the tail. Pin the base. Make sure you got a nice kind of straight line all the way across as best you can. End up with that nice straight line. We're going to pin the ears up just because I like to pin the ears up. Makes them look a little bit nicer. The other thing I like to do is with these eyes. Right up here, take one eye, throw a thumbtack in like this so it opens that eye up. What that'll do is that makes it nice and easy for Game and Fish to add the CITES tag. It also makes it nice and easy to put it on a fur hanger. So we're gonna pop a couple of tacks in just like this. And that'll keep that eye hole open so that we can put that on there. Now I'll pin up those ears and then we'll hang it up and we'll be done. Alright, so like I said, we're gonna pin these ears. Just take that ear, just bring it straight up. Take a pin, pop it in like that. Do the same thing on the other side. Pin that ear up. Just like that. We've got the eye pinned open so that you can put it on a fur hanger later. Got the back all nice and clean. Got that beautiful white all the way through this belly. This female had no milk stains or anything, just a real pretty female. Long white belly hair. Measurement fur, just about right around 7 inches. So just about right for that length there. Got a nice wide white belly. Like I said, we're going to clean up all this kind of pinkish hair and everything from blood. All that's going to get cleaned up in the dry wash. I've got a whole video on dry washing. You can check that video out. I'll throw the link below for that too. That's pretty much it, guys. Hope you found this video informative. Hope it helped you If you've got any questions, please drop them down below. I'll do my best to answer the questions that I can. If nothing else, you can always hit me up at the fur sale if you're at the fur sale here in Arizona. And I'll be happy to talk to you there, and we can go over fur handling stuff then as well. Again, all the fur buyers out there that we have out there love to talk to the people, and they are more than happy to give you pointers and help teach you stuff. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe and share this video out. It really helps the channel a lot. Until next time, guys, we'll catch you down the line.